Here's a hint, Peter's having some too. Ooh, that was good. Okay, I'm ready now. Whew.
Aloha and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on This Is Now. We begin today with some news out of the Polynesian Voyaging Society. They are preparing for yet another exciting journey at sea.
That's right. Details of Hokulea and Hikianalia's latest major voyage was announced this morning. Our Mahea Richardson was there for the press conference and joins us now with the details. What can you tell us, Mahea?
Aloha, Ash and Dylan. Yes, it is a historic day as members of the Polynesian Voyaging Society, including their leader, Nainoa Thompson, announced a really historic voyage, Moana Nui a Kea, a voyage for Earth. It is a 4-year voyage that actually starts in Alaska. Now, this is the first time that Hokulea will be in Alaska. It all starts in June and goes all around the Pacific to Seattle. It is going to meet up with Hikianalia, the second voyaging canoe. Then it's going to go down to South America and all throughout many communities in the South Pacific, all the way to Japan, and then of course back to Hawaii in 4 years. Now, you may notice as you hear Nainoa Thompson speak that the numbers kind of fluctuate. Well, that's because the voyage is ever changing. They need to get permission from different communities. But at this point, it's 47,000 miles that the crew will travel around the Pacific. It is a very important voyage for education. Here's what Nainoa Thompson had to say.
It's going to take 4 years. That's going to go 47 months, and it's going to go 43,000 miles. It's going to go to 36 countries and archipelagos. It's going to go to at least 150 indigenous territories. And it's going to probably go into the communities well into the 300s. It's going to connect, explore, discover. It's going to connect. It's about building relationships, finding across the world, built on the premise human beings are more alike than they're different. Hokulea needs to touch the earth, and the earth needs to touch Hokulea. It's the only way that you can be part of the earth, is to go around it. And the third promise he made me make was build a school for the earth, by the earth. Our instructions are clear. We'll build schools. Prepare our children for the greatest journey that human history has ever seen.
And back here live, you know, Hawaiian Airlines is one of the partners. They just donated 34 million miles to the crew of the Polynesian Voyaging Society. Also, members of the community are here, including the University of Hawaii, which is a partner, and the Department of Education, which is going along this worldwide voyage through a virtual canoe called the Va'ahonua. And this is a really important part. So there are 3 canoes, the Hokulea behind me, Hikianalia, and this virtual canoe, which will carry students all the way around the Pacific virtually. Ash and Dylan, back to you.
Mahea, such exciting news. Thank you so much for giving us all the details here. Now, I want to ask you a few questions. You were there when Hokulea came back to Magic Island and in 2017, and also you saw them in 1999 in Rapa Nui. Tell us, what was that like for you to witness that arrival?
Well, it is incredible, Dylan and Ash, to see Hokulea arrive on shore. And I can tell you, the crew members have said that every single arrival is special, but literally thousands of people lined up along the shore to watch Hokulea come to the shoreline at Magic Island. And I can tell you, back in 1999, when I was just a rookie reporter, I had the honor with KGMB to be sent to Rapa Nui, to Easter Island. That's one of the countries that Hokulea will visit again. And it is amazing to see the canoe come back after so many months out at sea. You know, the crew is tired, they're sunburned, you know, they want their ono for some local food. And there's always an exchange of education, there's an exchange of culture, there are warm embraces, and certainly I can anticipate that for every single stop that Hokulea and Hikianalia will stop at along this Pacific voyage.
Yeah, Mahea, you mentioned the crew. Have you spoke to the crew members down there? What did they say about, you know, training for this voyage? Is it any different than the previous voyages?
Well, Nainoa Thompson has said he will try to sail as little as possible. So what that exactly means for us laymen is that, you know, he's really trying to give these legs in this voyage to the next generation of navigators. Of course, you know, you have these experienced voyagers who've been with the Polynesian Voyaging Society for decades, and many of them were here, like Bruce Blankenfeld and Archie Kalepa. But when it comes down to going to places like Rapa Nui again, Nainoa Thompson said guarantee it'll be the younger generation who will be leading that leg of the voyage. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, as these older voyagers let go of the reins and let the younger generation take over.
Yeah, that's so awesome, Mahea. One more question for you. Can you reiterate the whole purpose of this Moana Nui Akea voyage for the people at home?
Well, it's all about the earth. I mean, every time Hokulea goes on a sail, it is all about the earth. And this time, Nainoa Thompson said that it's about sailing into the future. And during his speech today, this news conference, he talked about climate change. He talked about sustainability. And those are very important themes for the crew of the Polynesian Voyaging Society. In fact, if you think about a canoe, each leg of a voyage is about 2 weeks. And so they have limited supplies, and they need to be very careful about their water, how much they're carrying, in fact, where they stand on the canoe. And so these are some of the lessons that they hope to learn and also share with many people as they go through these different communities throughout the Pacific.
All right, Mahea Richardson reporting for us. Thank you so much, Mahea. We look forward to your reports on later editions of HNN.
Yeah, what an awesome, exciting journey that they are going on today. We'd love to see all the next chapters for the crew members, and big thanks to our Mahea Richardson for being there at this press conference earlier this morning. We want to get to some other news now happening. Your top stories around the nation. Extra security measures are in place in New York, Washington, D.C., and other spots around the country as the nation waits to see if former President Donald Trump is indicted. Now, Michael George reports from New York City.
A handful of demonstrators gathered outside the Manhattan District Attorney's office Tuesday, calling for an indictment against former President Donald Trump. DA Alvin Bragg is leading the investigation into allegations that Trump may have falsified records to hide campaign finance violations in connection with a 2016 payment his former fixer Michael Cohen made to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
It makes no sense. It's desperate. And their key witness is Michael Cohen, and I think that says everything that you need to know.
Outside Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, protesters rallied in support of the former president and current 2024 presidential candidate. Trump has denied any wrongdoing. Republican allies call the investigation politically motivated.
This was 7 years ago, statute of limitation, and I think in your heart of hearts you know, too, that you think this is just political. And I think that's what the rest of the country thinks, and we're kind of tired of that.
Security has been beefed up around the Capitol after President Trump called on his supporters to protest. He made similar comments ahead of the January 6th riot. Barricades have also been put in place outside the courthouse in Manhattan. Every NYPD officer, including plainclothes detectives, were ordered to wear their full NYPD uniforms today. A police source tells CBS News officers were also told to be ready to mobilize. If indicted, Trump would become the first president in U.S. history to be charged with a crime. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Now, for more on this story, we're joined now by Hawaii News Now's White House correspondent John Decker, who's also an attorney, so he can provide some legal insight for us, too. So, John, the Manhattan DA's office is pushing back on this Republican pressure to stop the investigation. We heard from House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in the previous story. Can Republicans stop this probe?
There is nothing that Republicans in the House of Representatives can do to either halt or slow down, stop this investigation, which has been ongoing for a while in the Manhattan DA's jurisdiction. This grand jury is wrapping up its work, Ashley. It will likely conclude its work within the next 24 hours, and then it will be up to the grand jury and the grand jury alone whether to issue any indictments, including a possible indictment against former President Donald Trump. But there's nothing that House Republican chairman can do to stop this process from moving forward.
And if the former president is indicted, what is the process that Mr. Trump will have to go through? Can you explain that to our viewers?
Absolutely. So if the former president is indicted, the grand jury would inform the Manhattan District Attorney that they've issued an indictment against the former president of the United States. And then the Manhattan District Attorney would notify the lawyers representing President Trump that he has been indicted. And then they would negotiate an appearance by the former president in Manhattan at the courthouse or in the district attorney's office, whichever one works best. This is a process that former President Trump's attorney said they will cooperate with. So if we're looking at the possibility for an indictment happening as early as this week, we're looking at an arraignment, an appearance by former President Trump happening likely next week.
Okay, John, switching to another big headline today, the leaders of China and Russia met again today. What was the focus of this meeting, and is there any indication that they're trying to work out a ceasefire with Ukraine?
Well, they put out a statement at the conclusion of the meeting that President Putin and President Xi had today, in which they talked about supporting the UN Charter, which is at odds, of course, with the facts on the ground, which is that Russia violated the UN Charter by invading the sovereign territory of its neighbor, Ukraine. Is there a chance for peace? There's always a chance for peace, but based upon what we saw in the statement coming out today, the joint statement coming out today by China and Russia, it seems very unlikely. First of all, no conversations have taken place yet, either in person or by telephone or any other manner between President Xi and President Zelensky. And of course, that's a very important part of this process. President Zelensky said that he's not interested in a ceasefire in which Russian troops, Russian military equipment would remain in the territory that Russia has invaded while the ceasefire is in place. And neither is the U.S. in favor of that as well. This would give those Russian troops a time to regroup, a time to rearm, and that is something that the U.S. and Ukraine are obviously against.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the leader of NATO is saying that there are signs that Putin requested lethal aid from China. What's the likelihood of that?
Well, we're talking about the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. He said that during a press conference that he had today. And the NATO Secretary General saying what U.S. officials have also said, is that there have been conversations between President Putin, President Xi about providing lethal military equipment from China to Russia. That hasn't happened yet. In fact, I asked a question today at the White House briefing today to the spokesman for the National Security Council. He has indicated that has not happened yet since the beginning of the war back on February the 24th of last year. It would certainly change things if that were to happen, but it would also fly in the face of what China's trying to present, which is itself as a mediator, a peacemaker, and it's difficult to say that you're a peacemaker or a mediator at the same time you're providing lethal weaponry to Russia.
All right, Hawaii News Now's White House correspondent John Decker. We always appreciate the time, John.
A new claim in the Red Hill crisis. An amended lawsuit now says the military failed to warn residents they may have been drinking and bathing in antifreeze after a fuel spill more than a year ago. In late 2021, thousands got sick after drinking the Navy's fuel-tainted tap water in and around Pearl Harbor. Last month, an internal memo was sent within the state health department. It warned about antifreeze in the jet fuel. It's used in aviation fuels to prevent ice from forming, and the letter warned it could pose the most significant health risk from exposure to contaminated water.
There's a hearing today on a proposal to nearly double the annual pay for Honolulu City Council members. A salary commission committee wants to increase their pay from about $69,000 to $135,000 a year. Their reasoning is that historically it's been a part-time job, but most council members work more than 40 hours a week. Once the commission's recommendation is final, the raises would be automatic unless rejected by a majority of the council. The Salary Commission is also recommending raises of about 12% of the mayor's department heads and deputies. Today's hearing happens at 1:30 p.m. at Honolulu Hale. Also happening today, Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi hosts his first of 11 town halls. Tonight's will be at 7 p.m. at Eva Mackay Middle School. Another one is scheduled for Thursday at Waianae District Park. Others will happen across the island, including Waipahu, Mililani, Laie, Kalihi, and Kaneohe. We'll post the full schedule online at hawaiinewsnow.com. And Maui County Mayor Richard Bisson delivers his first address on the state of the Maui County this evening. It starts at 5 p.m. and will be broadcast live on Akaku and on Maui County's Facebook page.
Honolulu police are asking for the public's help in tracking down 3 men accused of shooting at a man they tried to rob at Makaha Beach Park. This happened back on March 5th. Police say the suspect fired at the victim with crowds of beachgoers nearby. HPD says the suspects threatened the victim with a handgun and demanded his items. When the victim fled toward the beach, they fired multiple shots in his direction. Police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers.
A vehicle with 5 teenagers inside flipped off a road and fell 50 feet last night, but miraculously no one was hurt. That's according to the Honolulu Emergency Services Department. The incident happened at around 11 p.m. along Nu'uanupali Drive. The car appears to have flipped over on its roof, and all 5 teens were evaluated by EMS and were uninjured. The cause of the crash remains unclear at this time.
And take a look at this crash on the H1 freeway in Aiea this morning. It happened around 7 o'clock during the morning commute near the Ka'ahumanu overpass. Multiple vehicles were involved, and the 3 left townbound lanes were blocked. Police, fire, and EMS crews responded. 10 people face second-degree murder charges in the suffocation death of a mentally ill man inside a Virginia psychiatric hospital. All of it was caught on video, and a warning, it is disturbing to watch. Nicole D'Antonio reports.
This silent video shows Henrico County Sheriff's deputies bringing Ivo Otieno into Central State Hospital's admission room on March 6th. Handcuffed and in leg irons, he never made it to a chair. About 5 minutes later, he's laying on the floor and additional deputies step in. 3 minutes after that, more deputies and hospital staff pile on. At one point, at least 10 people are pushing into Otieno, who was pinned down for about 11 minutes. Ben Crump is the family attorney. He also represented the family of George Floyd.
You see him being restrained so brutally with knee on his neck.
20 minutes after entering the admission room, Otieno appears motionless. Hospital staff begin CPR and call 911.
Is the patient aggressive or is he not?
He used to be aggressive, right? So they're trying to put him in restraint. Then eventually he's no longer breathing.
Emergency crews were not able to revive the 28-year-old. Otieno's mother saw the video last week.
My son was tortured.
7 sheriff's deputies and 3 hospital workers have been charged with second-degree murder. Caleb Kirshner represents Deputy Randy Boyer.
My client's involvement in while at Central State was simply tried holding his leg or conducting the TDO paperwork or at times adjusting the leg irons. So at no time did he have any contact with his upper body.
Final autopsy findings have not yet been released, but prosecutors said in court Otieno was smothered to death. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
Classes were canceled in the Los Angeles Unified School District today because about 30,000 workers are on strike. The walkout follows about a year of failed contract negotiations in the nation's second largest school district. The workers include bus drivers, cafeteria workers, special education assistants, and custodians. Their union is asking for pay hikes, more full-time jobs, more staff, and, quote, respectful treatment. The district claims the strike is illegal, saying it's just about money, and it's offering a pay raise, but the amount is half of what the union wants.
We can't be paying people $25,000 a year. You can't live on that here in Los Angeles. They ought to earn a decent wage. There are bus drivers, there are cafeteria workers. We wonder why so many people are homeless in Los Angeles, and it's because we pay them a poverty wage. So they deserve better than this, and I hope they can get to yes soon.
The strike is scheduled to last 3 days, so 500,000 kids could be out of class until Friday. A few schools and parks are hosting childcare to help, and efforts are underway to provide lunch for students who need it.
Let's give you a live look outside from our tower cam. This is overlooking Punch Bowl in Honolulu. It's a fairly nice day, but let's see what the rest of the week is shaping up like. Here's Guy Hoggy.
We're keeping track of this disturbance expected to bring in more scattered showers late today through tomorrow. Now notice the nature of the showers tomorrow and on Thursday, that they're kind of spotty. Although it looks like Kauai and Oahu going to get most of the rain by tomorrow evening, and the rain's going to linger around through Thursday as well. Then slowly by Friday, things start to dry up significantly. In fact, the weekend looks mighty dry, save for a few minor splashes out there. So the weekend's going to be very nice, but we got to get through the next couple of days. So there will be scattered showers today, mainly for Kauai, and then moving down towards the rest of the state Wednesday and Thursday. These are the 2 days when you should be ready for more rain. Some of them could even be heavy. And then starting on Friday, a drier trend takes over.
Kiefer Sutherland makes his TV return in the spy thriller Rabbit Hole, streaming on Paramount Plus on Sunday. Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier sat down with the star and has the story. Aloha, Kevin.
Aloha, Dylan. You know, after 9 seasons of 24, Kiefer is no stranger to action, but in Rabbit Hole, he's falling into the world of corporate espionage.
Why me? None of this makes sense.
This is a classic thriller.
I can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not.
I play a character, John Weir, who is normally the guy manipulating the situation, and all of a sudden the conspiracy turns on him.
Kiefer is literally on the run in the 8-episode spy drama after being framed for murder.
Talk to me about getting ready for the physical element of this.
You know, I did 24 20 some odd years ago, and things creak a little more and they crack a little more. The whole thing just was easy, which is one of the things that makes you the most nervous, right?
Yeah.
I should have suffered more for this.
I feel like you shouldn't say I needed to suffer a little bit more. If there's a season 2, I'm sure some people will say, oh, we'll find a way to make you suffer.
A little
We
more.
will make you suffer.
I'm sure they will.
Make sure you tune into ET tonight for the latest on Gwyneth Paltrow in court, the claims that she was skiing out of control and broke a man's ribs. For Entertainment Tonight, I'm Kevin Frazier.
You know, Ashley, I really loved Kiefer Sutherland in Designated Survivor.
Yep.
Very great show.
Yep, that looks
Those
like
thrillers.
a good one, too.
Hey, time to give you guys some good news now. Ashley, what you got?
That's right. So 3D printing machines, right? They've been able to make a lot of things like furniture, organs, even a rocket. But now can they create and bake a dessert? Well, engineers at Columbia University set out to do just that. A team used a 3D printing machine and laser technology to whip up a 7-ingredient vegan cheesecake. So researchers say the experiment was a step toward making it practical to use 3D printing in mechanically assembled foods. So basically like an easy bake oven.
I mean, call me old-fashioned. Just use a stove. Just use an oven.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Hey, we also want to send a big happy birthday to 2 very special ladies. Yes, that's right. Family and friends gathered at the Care Center of Honolulu to celebrate Mildred Eno's 101st birthday, along with Jung Kyung Park's 100th birthday. So what's their secret to long life? Living a good one, that's for sure. But this is also what they said about turning the big 100.
Oh, okay, fine. I can jump. Hop, skip, and jump. So I'm fine.
Yes, going back to their secret, we're told the park enjoys cooking, shopping, and attending church, while Eno was a retired pastry chef who enjoys patchwork quilts. That's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching today here on This Is Now.
Aloha.